What's going on, car family? I'm Ben Wayne, and thank you for joining me in another video. Today, I am finally behind the wheel of one of my all-time favorite cars. This is the 2022 Mercedes-AMG SL63, and it is an absolute beast. Now, we went ahead and did a technical review a few months back at Mercedes-Benz of Atlanta Northeast. Please be sure to check out that video for all the nitty-gritty details I get into. But in this video, I am simply going to enjoy every moment of being behind the wheel of this amazing vehicle. So starting off with the exterior, this one is finished in a manufacturer Moonlight White Magno. So it is a matte finish paintwork, and it just looks absolutely incredible. It really brings out the lines of this car. Now the SL63, which I reviewed previously, had a white finish, but it was just the typical high gloss finish. I'm going to throw some B-roll of both in this video so you guys can choose which one you like best. Overall, the specs are exactly the same. Both are white. Both had the black Napa leather and red pepper interior. So both are stunning vehicles. I'll take either one. So let's start off talking about with what the mission of this vehicle is. So this one was designed by AMG, right? The SL needed help. The previous generation just didn't have that wow factor. It honestly didn't have that graceful appearance that SLs are known for. Oh, this car sounds so good. So it didn't have that graceful appearance that SLs are known for. This one does. It looks a lot more aggressive. It looks angry, but it still has elegance and class to it, right? This is a car that has that jaw-dropping wow factor. When I drive this car, people look at me like I'm driving a UFO. It's insane. And the noises that this car makes, it's just absolutely incredible with that AMG Performance exhaust system. So starting at the front, again, you have aggressive looks. You have that beautiful Panamericana grille that AMGs are known for. Your headlamps, they're slim and trim, all LED. LED daytime running lamps, LED headlamps as well. Now you also have some aerodynamic features, some active ventilations that open and close and change the way the car handles as well at speed. So there's a lot going on up front there. You have this humongous hood. Underneath this humongous hood, we have that 4-liter bi-turbo V8 that we've come to know and love from Mercedes-AMG. And the SL55 application is giving you 469 horsepower and then 516 pound-feet of torque. But in this SL63 application, it's giving you 577 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. It's connected to an AMG Speed Shift 9-speed automatic transmission. 0 to 60 for the 63 is claimed to be 3.5 seconds. I've done it in 3, right? Mercedes always pads those 0 to 60 numbers. So this car is a lot quicker than they say it is on paper. Now, it does have that hot inside V configuration that Mercedes does in most of their AMG vehicles. So what that means is they've placed the turbos in between the cylinder banks of the V8. And that's going to give you near zero turbo lag when driving this vehicle. So the throttle response is nearly instantaneous. It's totally linear. It's really hard to find any turbo lag in this vehicle. You just downshift and the vehicle just goes. It's like a missile. So it's insane how they do that. Now that high inside V configuration also gives you a compact and efficient design tucked away underneath that hood as well. Now speaking of ventilation and aerodynamics, there's also ventilation that opens and closes underneath the hood to give you additional ventilation. So there's a lot going on up front here. On top of that, you do have a first for the SL, which is the dynamic engine mounts, right? Mercedes incorporated dynamic engine mounts, which we typically only see in the GTs, inside the SL. So those engine mounts are filled with a magnetoreological fluid that's subjected to a magnetic field by the use of an electromagnet. And that's able to change the fluid's viscosity, thus being able to change the way the engine mounts are able to transmit force. So it's insane how much is packed into this car. And guys, you just have no idea how happy I am to be behind the wheel of this thing. As an SL owner myself, I've waited too long to be with this car. Quality time with this car. Coming over to the side profile, we have 21-inch AMG forged cross-spoke wheels. That's about a $3,300 option. Get it. If you have a bright color, get those cross-spoke black wheels. It really pops out. This one is also featured with the AMG Night package. So you have gloss black accents on the front, your side view mirrors, and then of course near the door sills as well. And that goes great with those cross-spoke wheels. Now, in addition to that, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the soft top. So for this generation, we're getting a Z-fold soft top. The SL class hasn't had a soft top in about 20 years. So there's been a lot of, hemming and hawing over if it should have a soft top or not. And I was one of those skeptics. I'm not going to lie to you. I love the hard top on my R230. Absolutely love it. But when I saw this soft top, it has a lot of benefits to it that the previous generations didn't have. Right off the bat, it is 50 pounds lighter than the retractable hardtop of the previous generation. Now, the soft top is arguably, it's the highest portion of the car. So you need that to be light because handling is now prioritized more in this vehicle than it was in previous generations, right? So you want your CG to be as low as possible in a car like this. Oh man, that sounds amazing. So you want your CG to be as low as possible in a car like this, right? Now, another major key benefit is when the soft top is up, it's able to preserve the car's lines. That could not be said for the previous generation SL. I can't get over that AMG Performance exhaust. It's just absolutely incredible. So those lines are preserved when the soft top is up, and I think that just helps the overall design of the car. In addition to that, if you have the retractable hardtop in the last generation, it dictated what the rear of the car looked like. So the rear of the car of the last generation was a little bit bulky. It looked a little bit wonky from the back. Here, it's nice and compact, and the lines just flow. It looks more natural and graceful. So the soft top definitely has some benefits. It has 3 layers, and when the top is up, it's able to keep the noises outside the cabin. So again, it exudes luxury. So I think experiencing it for myself, I can see why Mercedes thought the soft top was the way to go. So, I have no issues with that anymore. I'm fine with it. You guys can all proceed now. Moving on to more changes for this new generation of SL, it's larger than the previous gen. Now, with the way the lines flow on this car, you wouldn't think that it is, but the wheelbase is actually 5 inches larger than the outgoing generation. And what that did is, not only did it give designers more room to play with the lines, it just makes the entire car look a little bit more graceful. It doesn't look rushed at all, right? And that's part of the reason why the soft top looks good up or down, because the length of this car is actually hidden through the car's design. But when the top is up, it still has time to come down gracefully into the trunk lid. So again, it seems like that was the way to go for this design. They really put some thought into the design. Now, when it comes to the handling, of course, your suspension, 5-arm multi-link design, but you also have an aromatic suspension as well, right? But it's not the traditional aromatic suspension that you're used to. This aromatic suspension actually uses oil-filled dampers and has oil reservoirs at each wheel of the vehicle. Now, depending if you're on comfort mode, the pressure for that oil would be around 18 bar. But if you go into sport mode, it's going to increase the pressure to about 40 bar. And that changes the way the car handles dramatically. So the AMG Dynamic Select in this vehicle is not like any other vehicle where you change the mode, but you don't really feel the difference, right? You're going to feel the difference if you go from Sport Plus to Comfort or if you set your individual settings or the race mode, right? So you're really going to feel the way that this car is able to change character right before your eyes. You know, I said this wouldn't be a technical review, but I just got excited and started spitting facts. It's the only thing I know. It's the only thing I know. All right, so moving on to the back of the vehicle. That trunk lid slopes down nicely to the rear of the car. Again, it uses the same line when the roof is up, right? You'll also notice that when the roof is retracted, you know, the roof also serves as the deck lid. So there's no official tonneau cover for this car when the top is down, but it still looks nice and neat when the roof is retracted. Your tail lamps, of course, they're all LED, and of course you get that AMG performance exhaust system, which I'm sure you've heard by now, right? So this car, it just seems like Mercedes really put more focus into it having a little bit more of a sports car edge than it did before. It is still a GT car, don't get it twisted. It's still a GT car, but it is way more track worthy than the previous generation SL. Now, when it came to the previous gen SL, you know, the weight distribution was just off in that car. It's not something that you want to take on the track. It handled like an absolute dog. But this one, you know, you can take it out and have some absolute confidence that it's going to go where you point it. The weight distribution in this car is simply on point. All right, so I said a lot about the exterior and the handling. Let's go ahead and get to the interior. So you have this black Napa leather and red pepper leather, and you're just covered in it, right? You're like in a cocoon of leather. This is luxury, and it should be, because this is technically a flagship model of Mercedes-Benz. The SL is essentially a two-door version of the S-Class. So you're getting a lot of those familiar touch points that you see in the S-Class in this vehicle, right? So starting with the top of the dash, black Napa leather, no beads, smooth to the touch, high quality here, right? You come to the air conditioning vents. They're the turbine style. They have LEDs with inside the air conditioning vents. I love how the light reflects off that. Looks amazing. You also have red cross stitching where the black Napa leather is. Where the leather's red, you do have contrast gray stitching. So the attention to detail is there. Now, a touch point of the interior that I see a lot of people gripe about is this huge tablet display system. Again, that was something I was curious about. It works. You know, it works. It is simple and easy to use. It does take some getting used to because you have to know where things are, right? You don't have that physical feedback when you want to make some adjustments to the climate control, right? So you have to know where things are in this vehicle when using it. I do like the fact that it's able to tilt up and down to avoid the glare. I think that's a clever party trick that Mercedes does. And that just shows you that they are always thinking about everything, you know? When it comes to Mercedes-Benz, oftentimes it seems like they're thinking about things that nobody else is thinking about. And that's what sets them apart, in my honest opinion. So coming further back, we have two cup holders, two USB ports in here with wireless charging. And then in the center console, you do have additional storage. There are also two USB ports located in here. Now the seats. Let's talk about the rear seats first and why they're there. This car rides so smooth. It is still an SL at heart, even though it's a lot sportier than the previous generation. Oh, you hear that? So let's talk about the rear seats. Mercedes went to their customers and asked them what would they like to see in the next generation SL. Now in the previous generations, we typically just got a shelf, unless you got the 2+2 seating configuration. That was last offered a few generations back, right? But Mercedes customers said, hey, every once in a while, I would like to take, you know, my small kids with me when I drive this car, right? So they just gave you the small seats back there instead of the traditional shelf. Now, I will say, you know, it's not appropriate seating for an adult or anybody who really has legs for that matter, right? Small children only, but most people who buy this car will simply be using that for storage. Now, when it comes to the front seats, again, this car exudes luxury. It is as comfortable as it should be, S-Class comfortable even. The seats are heated and cooled, 3 levels of each. You also have an air scar system that blows warm air around your neck on cooler days like this one. It's particularly chilly now, but I'm not going to do a review of an SL AMG with the top up. I'm just not doing that. So I have the window deflector up, I have the heated seat on, and I have my air scar system on, and I'm able to stay warm. The wind deflector is keeping the cold air from coming inside the cabin, right? So in the exterior, we have a high pressure air environment, right? Because the velocity of the air is a lot faster. In the cabin, we have a low pressure environment. So fluid dynamics is going to tell us that that high pressure air is going to want to come in the cabin. That wind deflector is stopping all that from coming in the cabin. So when you have the top down and you're going fast, you don't have to scream at the person sitting next to you to have a conversation. So that's the purpose of that. Back to the seats. They also feature a massage feature, right? It's easy to get to that. I'll just hit home, go to comfort, and hit play. And next thing you know, I'm in the classic massage menu there. So I'm going to enjoy that. And that shows you, once you familiarize yourself with the screen, you're able to do that on the fly while driving, just like I just did. Door panels, covered in black Napa leather, red contrast stitching, yet the Burmester speaker grills really stand out. The pattern on these is just attention grabbing. I've taken people for rides on this car, and not only are they blown away by the performance, but the attention to detail when it comes to things like the air conditioning vents and the speaker grill. It's stuff that the average person has never seen before. Coming lower, we do have those touch capacitive buttons for your seat controls, and then controls for your heated and ventilated seats. You can also use the R button on the door panel to control the heated and seat ventilation and seat position on the passenger side. So I don't have to reach over to this side to make those adjustments. But overall, this is just an incredible car that is packed with the latest and greatest in technology. I mean, they didn't just throw a screen in the instrument cluster. Look how it's been designed so that it's wrapped around. It looks like some thought was put into it instead of them just sticking a screen there. The thin film transistor display there is nice and vibrant. It's fully configurable. I also have a head-up display system here as well. So when it comes to the tech, I have all the safety features, the lane keep assist features, right? The blind spot monitoring, the 360-degree camera, everything you come to know and love from Mercedes-Benz has been incorporated in this vehicle, and they've done so extremely well. So with that being said, the price point of this one, as shown, it's expensive. I'm not going to lie to you guys. You're looking at about $203,000. Now, that's the only that's the only major drawback of this vehicle for me, is that insanely high price point. Because, you know, back in the day, you could pick up an SL that was non-AMG if you just loved the design of this car and still enjoy it. It still had plenty of power. It still had the wow factor when it came to the looks. It had everything that you wanted. Now it's only available in AMG, and right now the only models available are the 55 and the 63. 63, I think, has a base price of $176,000, and this one is shown as $203,000. So, you know, you're not moonwalking your way into one of these cars unless you have money, right? So that's all I have to say about that. Let me know what you guys think about this car in the comment section. It is by far one of my favorite cars out on the street right now. I just don't know what to say. The looks are jaw-dropping. There's nothing else on the street like this car. All right, so let me know what you guys think about this one in the comment section. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, I'm Ben Wayne, the automotive reviewer that YouTube deserves.